Whoa, what's good? So, it's Jay Uncut here, checking in. Just jumped off the porch with Dirty Glove Bastard, man. Y'all check in, you know what I'm saying? There's vibes here.
Sing it to me, baby. I'm trying to overeat the pussy, bring it to me, baby. Yeah, it's Rubi, baby.
All right, y'all, so we have the emphasis on the Jay Uncut with us here off the porch today. How are you feeling?
What's good, man? It's all good. It's hot, but I'm chilling.
Now, it's hot outside. I didn't expect Atlanta to get this hot, but I'm actually hot, and I'm from Texas, and you know we be hitting the hundreds.
Right. Already. No, we good, though.
So how have you, just going back into this crazy pandemic, how have you been able, how were you able to stay motivated creatively?
In the pandemic?
During the pandemic when everything shut down.
I mean, that's what made it easy.
Really?
Everything was shut down. So every night we was in the studio. We can't go to the movies, can't go to the mall, you know what I'm saying? So, I spent nights in the studio, you know what I'm saying, and just cooking up, creating records, creating beats, catching a vibe. Not only that, but it's kind of improving, the skill set, the sound, the ear, you know what I'm saying? So it was more of a lockdown, but a focus, music. For everybody in the industry, they should have came up in 2020 because it was, you had nothing else to do but to stay in the studio and work.
Now, you are an Atlanta native, so how was it for you growing up here?
I was born in Toronto.
Born in Toronto?
Toronto, Canada, yeah. Toronto was more of like, just for culture purposes. My dad, Jamaican, mom, Barbados, so they met in Toronto. And that's where I was born, but I was raised in Atlanta. So Atlanta kind of, brought me up, and that's where I kind of got accustomed to the culture, and then of course music. So Atlanta taught me how to embrace this culture as far as music over the decades, you know what I'm saying? And then I started to hear more and hear, more of where music went, from the 2000s to 2010s and to where we are now.
So how would you describe the current state of Atlanta's music scene right now?
Atlanta is the music capital of the world, so, everything come out of Atlanta. So I feel like we the Mecca, and we create the trend. The trend comes here, the sauce is here. The check is in LA, but the sauce is here in Atlanta. So, even though I'm back and forth LA and Atlanta, I always get motivated. My creativity is always motivated when I'm here. Yeah.
And I think it's kind of cool because you got to witness like the Snap era, like all of that until now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, and we're creating a new era. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm really big with the female rappers, queen rappers. I feel like that. They don't get as much respect, but they stream. The people listening. And they're likable. The people want to see them, like the mulattoes and the Rubi Roses and Dream Dolls, of course the Cardis and Megans. So I mean, yeah, man, it's the culture is elevating.
I love how there's we have such a huge selection of like female rappers that we can choose from, because back then we really just had Nicki for a minute.
Nicki's back.
And Nicki's back.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see Nicki's being back, and then also seeing how you say we have the Rubi Rose, Mulatto, Flo Milli, just the different type of genres of female rap coming into play.
Yeah. And Coyle Ray, man, so we got to work soon. But yeah, it's major, it's up right now. So that's the culture. That's where it's moving.
And just going back into your background, I know that you grew up in the church.
Mm-hmm.
How would you say the church influence really played a part in your sound musically?
So the church was, for me, was like boot camp. It was like training ground. So I learned music theory in church. I learned ear training. I began to evolve as I would go home and learn the songs for Sunday morning, and I play by ear. So, you know, as I'm learning songs, I'm learning new chords, I'm learning new sounds, different lead lines, and when you do that for so long, it becomes automatic. So, transition into production. It's like I can take from what I've been learning over the years and just simplify it a little bit and create really dope melodies, you know. Plus I play drums too, so it makes it easy to, you know, create drums, you know, with my beats, and just kind of like how patterns can fit with these melodies. So it just becomes, church became my, you know, my boot camp. And I still use elements I still play the church till today. So, you know, it's a forever learning process. You know what I'm saying?
And so we know that you are not new to producing whatsoever, but take us through your journey of pursuing your career and how you got to where you are now as a producer.
Yeah, it wasn't the typical journey where you just kind of pick up beats and then all of a sudden you just get popping. All of a sudden, it took me a minute. Again, I started off in the church, so I met this artist named Regina Bell. She's like old school, but she's super popular back in the 90s. She did the Aladdin theme song, A Whole New World. She won a Grammy off it. So when I met her, when I did my research, I was like, oh, she's popping. You know, I met her at the church because she was like leading the choir, and I was playing. And she came up to me after the service and was like, you know, I like those chord progressions you were doing. You know, I'd like to implement that in my album, or one of the songs on my album. So I went home with my chord, my chord Triton, and I sequenced in the board. That's how, you know, I started with sequencing in the board. And I put those chords together with like strings and drums and bass lines and all that, and I brought it to her, and she's like, yeah, this is it. And then this was back in like 2007. Then she flew me to Houston to actually record it live with all the singers and the musicians, and that it came out like in 2008. Love Forever Shines, I believe the album was, and that's how I got started. But then shit got weird because, you know, I was young and I didn't understand business. All I knew was music. So I got a little money from it. The label called me and was like, yo, I love your style. I want you to be my A&R and find like talent. But again, I don't know no business. So the label was giving me money. I was spending it on strippers and, you know, just blowing it on like dumb shit, and ended up getting fired from the label, and I kind of just like lost focus in music for like 10 years. Well, I'd say about 5 years I lost focus on music. I let love get in the way, you know. Don't ever let love, just when you pursuing something, throw that love shit away, bro. Like honestly, you know, unless you're mature and you've grown into your career and your passion. But yeah, I lost focus. I had no drive. And then I saw my peers coming up, like my musician friends or my producer friends coming up, like getting big pub deals, driving big cars, chains, and I'm like, and I'm still playing at the church for $500 a week, you know what I'm saying? Barely making ends meet. So I'm like, I gotta get focused on this music, because I was one of the first to get a placement with a big artist. And I just got back in my bag. You know, I found an artist that, that was very talented, and I just kind of stuck with her and started producing with her. And then as she grew, I grew. And I started meeting people, went to LA, started networking again. And then all of a sudden, I guess people just started hearing my music again. And I got my first placement. No, we'll call it I'll call it first placement in my new wave with Ace Hood. And once I started getting publishing from that, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm, locked in. And then shit just started kind of going from there.
So going through like all of that, how were you really able to stand out as a producer in a city like Atlanta?
I mean, I wouldn't say stand out. I'm okay. I just say I don't really I just say separate myself. I separate myself based on, I'm just not a producer who just sits home and make beats. I don't find that effective. Now, don't get me wrong, for the producers who do that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's dope. Like, 'cause there's some really dope producers that just sit home and make beats. But for me, I create records. So I'm finding talent. I'm reaching out to the artists. I'm in the studio with the artists. I'm making sure the right pieces are around this artist, like the right vocal producer, the right songwriters, the right engineers, the right studio setting. You know what I'm saying? Making sure they're picking the right beats. Make sure the mix is good. Like I produce records. So I think after a while, people were hitting me for records, not for beats anymore. So I can't sit home and make beats because, I do it. Of course I have other producers as well, but I think my value kind of grew as the producer who makes the records. So, when I get calls, hey, we need a record for it. And, I gotta get the beat right. I gotta get the songwriter. We gotta, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what separated me from just like the producers, in general. And, I actually enjoy that because I enjoy the artist development process. That's why I like independent artists. So I would say that's what kind of like separates me from the regular.
And what would you say are some producer do's and don'ts?
Do's, man, just do. Just go, just work. Be a hustler. Don't like have a drive for this. Like, you wake up and think about what's the next play. If you're just making beats, find the next sound. If a songwriter, find the next trendy phrase. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always be thinking about the next level. And as far as don'ts, there's so many little things. Like, I would just say as a don't be so complacent. Like, you get one record out, and then from my experience of the major don't is you get a record out and then you're good. You think you're set. You think okay, now you got a little clout, and you lose your hustle. You'll get forgot about that quick. They move on to the next. Back in the day, back in like the early 2000s, there was only like 4 or 5 major producers. So, they were forever getting work. Today, there's thousands of producers. Like, everybody makes beats. So you can be forgot about just like that. So always thinking about the next wave, the next move, jumping on the next artist, or creating your art, like always working, always moving. Honestly, it's not even about work, it's a mentality thing. Your mind has to be on like, I'm about to get it. Because if everything, like your energy just translates into how you move, how you work, how you talk, how you walk. And it's crazy, when you have that mentality, you don't have to really say much. People just gonna know, oh, he about something. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed that because even when I walk, I can I can walk in the mall, or I can walk in a room and people, yo, what you do? I've gotten this all the time, or they'll be like, you Jay Uncut, or you that producer. They may not know my name. They'll be like, but you that producer, or I you know what I'm saying? And it's just be the energy sometimes. It's mindset, man. Your mindset can really take you to the next level. As crazy as cliche as it sounds, I've seen it firsthand.
And the last time we talked, I really loved how you broke down basically like the art of networking as a producer. And I really want you to go in that because you made some really key points when it came to networking.
Yeah, networking is literally 90% of your hustle. Networking, that's why I say I can't just sit home and make beats, because you sit home and make 100 beats and 100 beats gonna sit in your computer. You ain't gonna make no bread. The hustle is networking. We have social media. We have Instagram. Instagram might have been the greatest creation for all creatives, because as of like 10 years ago, these celebrities, we couldn't reach them. We just see them on TV. We see them on the computer. In this day, you can reach anybody. You can talk to anybody. Like, I remember who I sent a DM out to. I remember, because it's so easy for me now, but I just try to remember the first time I sent a DM to a celebrity and they responded. It was like, yeah, send a pack. I can't remember who the first one was, but I can literally reach out to any artist now. It's crazy if you don't utilize your networking skills. It's crazy if you don't just like utilize the Instagram app, or now I'm sure there's other apps. I'm still stuck on Instagram. There's new shit coming out every day, but you can talk to anybody. You can talk to the managers, and networking will of course expand your brand, because people learn who you are, they will follow you, and then all of a sudden now you start to see people start to look at your network and see who knows you, who follows you, and then all of a sudden they start. It's all of it's just all a revolving door. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to know how to network in this industry.
I love that, because I know some people like, especially, okay, I'm gonna keep it transparent. Networking, I kind of be struggling like with networking, because I'm like, oh my God, I don't know, like, what's gonna happen if I hit them up? Like, I don't want to get rejected. I'm cool.
Oh,
but
you gotta let that
how did you
go.
get past that?
Because one thing about me, maybe it's how I grew up. I don't know how to get embarrassed. Mm-hmm. Like, I can fall down and people laugh at me, and I'm not embarrassed, because I think it's a confidence. So I'm left on red on, I'm sure, a few people right now.
Yeah.
That don't bother me, because within, as I evolve, they go back and they be like, oh yeah, I saw I can give you countless times. There has been people in my DMs that hit me back saying, yo, I'm just not seeing your DM. Like, yeah, well, 2 years ago, I wasn't important enough, but it didn't stop me. You know what I'm saying? The more you evolve, the more you grow in this, they will come back. And, oh yeah, man, I'm seeing your DM now. Okay, yeah, Trust me, pride aside, fear aside. Also, for producers who are afraid to send out their packs, that is the worst way of thinking. Send your music out. Nobody cares. Send your music out. Don't be afraid of your beats getting stolen, your beats getting taken. Like, come on, like, it's rare that it happens. And if it happens, move on to the next one. I've had my beat stolen, but I've also had hundreds of beats that was used and I got paid for. So, it's just pride and confidence.
So I'd love to ask producers how they found their own distinct sound. How exactly did you find yours?
Yeah, my sound is, I don't even know what my sound is, because it's forever changing. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but I collab a lot. So I utilize other producer sounds along with my sound. You can hear a trap beat, an uncut trap beat, and then you'll hear an uncut pop beat they'll sound nothing alike. The sounds, the progressions will be nothing alike. I don't know if I have a sound. But I will say if what someone did tell me is they can hear that I'm a musician. I've heard that from a few artists. They'll say, I can tell that you're a musician because they hear melodies or they hear types of chord. And I'd be surprised because I don't really know. It'd be a beat that don't really have any melodies in it at all. Maybe I'll, sprinkle a little bit in there, but they'd be like, oh, I can tell that, you play. So if I were to describe a sound, it would be, you can tell I'm a musician. But again, I just try to simplify it so it can fit the sound of today and of tomorrow.
And also, when we talked last time, you had recently signed with Sony. So how was that transition going from a unsigned producer to now a signed producer?
To be honest, it's really no different. And I mean, this, respect to Sony Music Publishing. I appreciate you guys, of course, taking a chance on me. However, nothing really changed. The hustle doesn't change. You get a little bit of help from, they support. Let's just say that they send me who's looking, and they'll, there's a great supporting cast over there. But for me, I look at it as I'm still out here in the grind. You know what I'm saying? So I still create my own contacts. I still reach out to artists myself. I still do my own traveling. I do. I'm building my own studio, everything I'm still doing. So, but, Sony's great. They open up their doors to me anytime I can come, I can utilize their resources anytime. I don't really use it as much though, but, maybe I'll tap into it.
And you just mentioned building a studio. Mm-hmm. What is up with that?
Yeah. So I'm building a multi-room studio. Of course, I'm always in everybody else's studio. You know what I'm saying? A lot of studios made a lot of money off of me, so it's only makes sense. And also, again, because they come to me for records, they don't come to me for beats. So a lot of artists, they'll come to my studio, or I have to set up the session. So for me to have a home base where they can just come to my studio, I could create 3 times more records, and the work would just, overload, you know what I'm saying? Not only that, but I'm doing a podcast room and interview room, I'm really going to create a multifaceted type situation for artists to really get in their bag, you know what I'm saying? So, and then of course, again, I develop independent artists as well. So it's good for them to have a home to work out of as well.
And speaking of artists, you have worked with so many, from the girl Rubi Rose to Lloyd, Dreezy, Young M.A., Raheem Devon. Mm-hmm. Who would you say out of your catalog is your favorite artist to work with?
Rubi Rose is my sister. That's family. That's gang. Rubi is family, man. She got me excited about this shit. You know what I'm saying? I've always been excited, but she helped me take shit to the next level. Her energy, she's family. Rubi was last Thanksgiving when I was in LA. My family is here in Atlanta and in Toronto, so is her family, and we were both in LA. We had Thanksgiving together with her assistant, and just went to the grocery store, loaded up 3 carts of food, and we just had, just chilling at the crib, having our own Thanksgiving. She's family. She looks out. I make sure she's good. Anything she needs from me, she gets. And that's easily my favorite. And trust me when I say Rubi hasn't even started yet, and she's already popping, but she's just getting started. The next wave of Rubi Rose is about to be on something serious. So, but nah, that's this.
Man, when we caught hold of Rubi Rose, we heard He and His Feelings, and you actually produced that track. So how were you able to really match her sound?
Well, to go back to your question about how did we get through the pandemic, that pandemic was me and Ruby locked in the studio for days. Like every night she's coming to the studio. Jay, we got studio tonight? Absolutely. We ain't got nowhere else to go. We recorded records on top of records. Like there's so many Rubi Rose records, unreleased records that I have. But it was developing her sound. She was starting to get used to the studio. I mean, she was already doing her thing, but it's like we took it to the next level. And that's how we started to kind of hear who she is, how her studio etiquette is, how her vibe is, what she needs in the studio to catch a vibe. But now, even we got through that era. Now the era that she's on now is about to be next level. Shout out to Aaron Reed and Keys and Hitco, LA Reed. They taking her to a next level, and I'm just glad to be a part. You know what I'm saying?
And what was the vibes like in the studio sessions? Because I know that chemistry was just crazy.
Yeah. She's a sweetheart, man. She's always creating a vibe for us, man. And I'm just grateful that she trusts me, we just dropped a new record with Young M.A. Shout out to Young M.A. She just dropped her project off the act, and which we got one of the records featuring Rubi Rose called Diva. Sessions was just like so vibey. You know what I'm saying? Just that's how you get the best records, is when you just relax. This is not work. This is chill. This is like, you create a we just kicking it atmosphere, and then we just start spitting shit off the dome. You know what I'm saying? And that's how that record came out. That record is fire.
It's so fire. I heard it. I was like, I love this.
Yeah.
And you were actually a part of Young M.A. and Rubi Rose meeting.
So Young M.A. is funny as shit. So I went to go meet one of my partners that owns Hyde, the Hyde Lounge in Buckhead, and I was just coming there to chop it up, and then Young M.A. was just sitting there in one of the sections, and and I just sat down with her. But Atlanta, there's no celebrities in Atlanta. Everybody knows everybody. So, I just casually just dapped it up. What's good? I'm Uncut. She's like, what's good? I'm Young M.A. All right, cool. We smoking hookahs, drinking. But see, I drink, if you notice, I drink, I don't take shots. Like, I sip on my drinks. And so Young M.A., it was Hennessy, but Young M.A. throwing her shit back. She's like, yo, bro, like, you can't sip on your shots. And I'm like, yo,
You be sipping on the shots?
I sip on the shots, because it's a vibe. I be trying to catch a vibe. I ain't trying to get drunk. I just try to, you know what I'm saying? So we laughed about that. That was our first interaction, like our conversation. We just laughed about it. I was like, that's just some shit I'm on. But then she was just like, yo, so, what's good? What you do? What you on? I was like, man, shit, I'm just out here making music, just, vibing. She's like, who you working with? And then I mentioned Rubi Rose, and she's like, yo, we need to work. I said, absolutely, nigga, shit. I FaceTime Rubi Rose right there. I was like, Ruby, yo, we need to get a record with Young M.A. She's like, let's do it. And they chopped it up 2 days later in the studio. And we just vibed out, caught a dope ass vibe. That's what I'm saying, man. This is why I feel like, again, I respect all producers. Just me, my confidence is I create records. I put artists together. You know what I'm saying? If I got two major artists I'm really about to put together, I like to just collab with the artists. You know what I'm saying? I like to make friends, we become family. You know what I'm saying? Producers, they don't know the artists, they just send out the beats to the A&R. Yo, again, respect to the A&Rs too, respect to the managers, but I talk to the artists. Sometimes you can't get to the artists, okay, cool, that's all good. You know what I'm saying? But when I get in the studio with artists, we create a connection. You know what I'm saying?
And with you, Jay, you've worked with so many female artists, and of course, the catalog is just building with them. So it's only right to ask you, what is your perspective on the current state of female rap right now?
It's female artists in general are just, to me, it's what you want to look, you want to listen, you want to get tapped in, because they create such an energy. Female rappers, female artists, it's like they make everything colorful, they make everything fun, they make everything just attractive. You know what I'm saying? And so it's becoming, it's like entertainment and music coming together, and I love that we can be so creative with female artists. You know, it's art. Again, you know, of course, you know, dudes, you know, rappers will always be, you know, doing their thing. But I think female rappers and female artists are able to be more open with music, especially the visuals. You know what I'm saying? Look, man, like Coil Ray is taking off. Rubi Rose is taking off. Big Lotto out of here. You know what I'm saying? Cardi B can make a hit anytime she wants to. You know, Nicki's back with just, like, she posted one video with a record coming and everybody was just going crazy. Like, imagine, wait till Rihanna come back. I'm telling you, females is, I just think that we just gravitate, because, you know, women are just beautiful creatures in general. You know, we're attracted to women in general. So y'all have like an essence that just makes us kind of want to, I don't care what y'all doing, I want to know. You know, so you mix that with music, you mix that with visuals, and it just creates more. So trust me, like much respect to women in music. I guess that's why I gravitate more to them, you know. I work with everybody, by the way, but, you know.
So just speaking on the topic of female artists, who would you say are some more female artists that you would like to work with in the future?
Definitely Coil Ray, Danny Lay. Danny, we got something in the works, so that's gonna be a vibe. Shout out to Brandon Bills. Ariana Grande, she's a vibe. You know, that's not a rapper, but you know what I'm saying? That's where my lane. I do pop too. Like I love pop music.
Ariana Grande.
Yeah, she's a vibe. So I got a few on the way with I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. I'm trying to make sure I'm not supposed to like tell secrets, because there's an album coming out that I'm not supposed to talk about. So let's just say, you know, there's a couple that I'm definitely tapping into. But of course, you know, Beyonce. Let me tell you something. And it sounds like fantasy, you know what I'm saying? I think everything is achievable for me. Like, I go and get it. So I'm already making my plug to get a Beyonce record. I know exactly who I'm going through to get it. We already talking, it's in the works. So if y'all see the Beyonce Uncut record, I'm telling you, like I've spoken into existence. But
look, you better manifest that on this porch.
Already. So, but yeah, I got a record with Kiana Lede coming out. I can talk about that. So we're just trying to find a dope feature, which I do have in mind. So, but yeah, man, you know, shout out to the queens of this industry. You guys are amazing. You guys are taking over. You know what I'm saying? I'm all in.
And what would you say are some goals for you this year when it comes to your career in music?
I'm trying to take more of an executive role. I mean, I've already have, but my goal is to finish my studio and really start signing artists. And I have a few already. Like I said, there's artists that are ready to sign, but I'm very strategic. So when it's time, they'll know it's time. And I'm getting the right support. I just inked a deal with Hallwood and Corey the Twin, which is Murder Beats manager. So we have a lot of things going on, a lot of things in the works, including eventually signing artists and releasing some music this year under Uncut Music Group. So there's gonna be that's the goal, to definitely get that. I mean, it's not even like it's a goal, but it's happening. So I don't want it to seem like it's a dream, like it's already in the works. You know what I'm saying? But that's my focus right now.
And what advice would you give for anyone who's feeling discouraged in regards to getting a major placement?
So, because everybody gets discouraged because sometimes it takes forever. Honestly, my advice is utilize your networking skills. Please get up off of your computer, get up off of your MIDI board. Producing beats is amazing, but you have to get up and get on Instagram, go to events, go to the studio, meet people, get numbers. Your next placement could be just one conversation away. It's not even just your beats, it's your conversation. Just talk to people. Yo, who you work with? I'm such and such. What do you do? That can open up the door to a million things. And you never know who you meet, especially in Atlanta. You can meet everybody. And if you have a chance, get to LA, because that's where you really open up your door. But you have to network. And if you're discouraged, cliche, don't quit. Cool, don't quit. yeah, don't quit. But utilize your networking. Just talk to people. Get on Instagram. Don't be afraid to get rejected. Hit everybody in the DM. Spam them. I don't care. Yo, I just want to work. Yo, just look at my page. Look at my beats. Matter of fact, can I collab? Just, what I'm saying? Just network. You'll find that one person. Yo, send me some beats. I'm one of them type of people. I always say, send me beats. Yo, send me beats. You know what I'm saying? I listen. I may not do it like right away, but I eventually, when I get into my cook-up mode, because I'm doing so much networking, I'm doing so much travel, I'm doing so much studio sessions, I really don't get as much time to sit down and make beats like I used to. But when I do, I go on my email and I look for loops. I look for people who sending me beats, full beats, because I could always ask for the stems and create on top of it. So you could get a placement by just sending me beats. Oh, by the way, so I got this platform that I'm creating for all independent producers that's trying to come up. I'm creating a website. My team we just had a team meeting about it. And what it's gonna be like a BeatStars, but more personal. So basically all producers who are just looking to come up can submit their beats to my website. And so I have this Dropbox that I send to everybody, all producers, I send to all the labels, I send it to all the artists directly, I send it to all the managers, the engineers. Everybody has my Dropbox link. If people ask for my Dropbox link because it has all my beats categorized in R&B, rap, trap, pop, even gospel. You know what I'm saying? It's categorized, so people love to kind of like go into my Dropbox. But my team said, you gotta stop using Dropbox and let's create a platform where you can send this link out and you can utilize it more. It'll be more personal. And so I'm using this platform for independent producers to send me beats. And they send me beats, they'll go through this portal, and this portal I take my time and I listen to which ones are gonna feel good, sound good, the quality is industry standard, and I throw them in my pack. So it gives them an opportunity to get their beats to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So I'm creating this platform. It's gonna come out soon, and I'll give more information on that. But everybody's gonna get an opportunity. And all you gotta do is just hit me, bro. Like network. That goes back to your question. Just network. You know, that's it. I'm all about independent. I'm all about people trying to come up. You know, and this is good for independent artists as well, because I'm giving this pack to independent artists. So all the producers that's trying to get in, their beats will go to everybody from the major labels to the independent artists. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. I'm always here for more platforms for just people that are independent in the music industry, because it's hard.
Yeah.
And so before we wrap up the interview, do you have any last words or shout outs?
Shout out to Sounds from Ike. We co-produced that. Don Diva, Young M.A., Rubi Rose. It's doing super well right now. LeBron posted it. It's on like charting like on 15 for best albums right now. So shout out to my boy, Sounds from Ike, dope producer. Shout out to my producer, Young Roman. I signed him, kid from Ohio. Stupid beats, crazy. He co-produced Key in His Feelings with me, so he's a beast. Piano Got Keys. Shit, man, who else? It's all my producers, all my songwriters. There's too many to name, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I create a network of creatives. I don't do this by myself. So, you know, it's shout out to everybody. Shout out to Kalisha Pereira. You know, she a go-getter. She takes my brand to a whole next level. PR, marketing. You know,
we love Miss Kalisha.
That's she know what it is. So, but yeah, I appreciate Off the Porch, man. You guys, man, y'all got a dope platform here. I ain't gonna lie. I always be watching, man. Like, okay, you know, gems be coming off this porch. So I hope I was able to provide some gems.
You did.
You know what I'm saying? Good stuff.
Sing it to me, baby. I'm tryna overeat the pussy, bring it to me, baby. Yeah, it's Ruby, baby. I'm tryna fuck you with